Tonight, the memo is about leaders. Not all leaders, but the few with incurably bloated egos, and who, in all honesty, should not be called leaders. These are the government officials who, in the place of empathy, have chosen to add salt to the injury of millions of Kenyans who are choking under the unbearable taxes and a spiraling cost of living. Kenyans thought they had seen it all until these so-called leaders, who are expected to protect them and give them a semblance of hope, turned on them with vicious insults and inexplicable taunts. These officials have been talking down at Kenyans, as if they were a bunch of criminals who deserve every bit of the punitive taxes heaped on them by the government. How else would you explain the endless tirades from Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria, who just a few days ago asked all of us to go dig our own wells if we didn't like the current fuel prices? How else would you explain such arrogance from a man who sits in the cabinet where official government policies are crafted? Indeed, this entire memo would easily have been about Kuria, but that would be belaboring an all too familiar point about the former Gatundu South MP's loose mouth. It should surely be shameful enough that the trade minister is so incapacitated by his loose talk that he can't even travel to certain trade-related meetings, especially in the United States. But the condescension seems to be spreading like bushfire in government circles. Dr. David Ndii is the man around whom President Ruto's economic plan should be revolving. After all, he is the chairperson of the Economic Advisory Committee. But if his recent outbursts on social media are anything to go by, the country is indeed in a dark place. David Ndii, seemingly with a straight face, told Kenyans on social media to blame themselves for having trusted the politicians who are now running the government. Many Kenyans took the sentiments to mean that all the promises made by President Ruto as he campaigned last year should never have been believed by anyone. This would make sense if David Ndii weren't part of that same government, or indeed if he played no part in bringing it to power. But nay, the economist was right at the center of the Kenya Kwanza campaign. He was part of the team that went round the country selling the lofty promises to Kenyans in meetings that were dubbed economic barazas, where pre-election charters were unveiled and signed. How are those Kenyans who voted for President Ruto on the strength of Ndii's economic credentials supposed to feel when he throws them under the bus when the going gets tough? Is Ndii just having fun, engaging on social media banter, or does he truly mean those unkind words? Well, it is gratifying that the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, took time to call out this arrogance. Never mind that he had himself just told a potential group of Colombian investors about the wonderful tigers in Kenya. Well, that could perhaps have been a slip of the tongue, but with so many unbridled lies coming from government officials, that raised very many eyebrows. But this statement calling on Kuria, Ndii and their ilk to respect Wanjiku is commendable and should define the tone in government going forward. Although he did not call them by name, he at least condemned their insensitivity and distanced the president and himself from the reckless comments. But it should not end there. These are not elected leaders. They serve in those roles at the pleasure of the president. So why keep them in office if they can't feel what the hustlers are feeling? Why not replace them with leaders who will work day and night to find solutions to Kenyans' current predicament? Or is there a shortage of good people in the country. It bears noting that the last time CS Kuria attacked the media using unprintable words, the president lauded his acts as courageous. Could that have emboldened him? At this point, one is reminded of a phrase that dominated Kenya Kwanza campaigns in the run-up to the August 2022 elections. Kiburi itakwisha, they said, to mean that they would end what they saw as arrogance in the government that was then led by Uhuru Kenyatta. Well, many Kenyans may well be saying tonight that Kiburi is back. That is our memo.